Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with the reaction for you guys. Today, guys, of course, we are continuing Wolverine and the X-Men, the Season 1, Episode 4, Overflow. Not Hindsight Part 4, Overflow. Because when I saw the episode titles, Part 1, okay, Hindsight Part 1. Hindsight Part 2, okay, I get it, Part 1, Part 2, opening the show. But then Hindsight Part 3, I'm like, okay, because I was thinking, okay, is there going to be a Part 4? Because last I remembered, because I think I remember this correctly, Avatar: The Last Airbender had Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4 as its finale. Like, they had to split out in 4 parts. So I'm thinking, is there a Part 4 to this? Because the way Hindsight Part 3 ends is freaking crazy. But, no, actually not the case. Overflow is the title for the episode. But I love what they've done so far with the Hindsight Part 1 through 3. Because we finally find Professor X. We haven't found Jean Grey yet for some reason. But apparently we can find her. We just have to give a little more time. And Frost was telling Cyclops, well, you know, Wolverine doesn't want me here, but if you give me time with Cerebro, I can find Jean. But they found him, and apparently Magneto says this. I don't know if it's true, but he said that he washed up like the week before on Genosha, and he's been taking care of him ever since. Now, why didn't you try to reach out to the X-Men? I don't know about all that, so I'm kind of debating whether or not he was telling the truth, but regardless, the fight scene was great between the X-Men when they infiltrated Genosha, and he just took them on like nothing, because he had the advantage. Of course, he built Genosha. It makes sense he has the home advantage there. But, so they find Professor X, and he shows up as a giant head hologram, and he explains the X-Men are needed. Wolverine, you have to lead them, because I have woken up in a future that everything is wrong. Because he walks out, Professor X has some sort of like leg devices or something on his legs. He walks out and sees these giant sentinels, and the city is like destroyed, and the X-Men are needed to stop all of this from happening. So I'm really intrigued to see where we go from here, because that was a really cool way to not only do this crazy opening of this show where the X-Mansion is destroyed, and then a year later we find Professor X, and then he's saying in 20 years shit goes down, like a lot of time stuff going on, but I'm clearly fine with it, because I'm all about the time travel stuff, or time-esque type stories. I think it's really interesting. So let's get into now, guys. Episode 4, Overflow, of Wolverine and the X-Men. I almost said X-Men. Wolverine and the X-Men. Let's go.
I come to you with an urgent message. Come to us. From where? The future. The coma you see me in.
Would have been funny if he said the past.
Last for 20 years.
What day? And then they keep like referencing days, future, past. Not the future? No, the past. Oh. What the hell?
Charles. Don't be alarmed, Logan. We're still at the Institute. But this is what we might call a meeting of the minds on the astral plane.
Okay.
What could have done something like this? Not what? Who? It was Storm. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it's that thing, right?
Africa.
The thing that got transferred from that one guy to the other?
Your attempts to manipulate me are demeaning.
He's like, I don't want to do this.
You favor me by extending my stay here.
And just like the others, you have to continue earning it every day.
But you trust them.
Because they've earned that too.
Trust is
I
a
like that
two-way
line.
street, love.
They've earned that
Find
too.
yourself
You know what I'm saying?
in
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good that she's doing that. I was like, wait, oh. Oh.
You should know we're all heading to Africa. It's Storm. She's in trouble.
Yeah.
But Logan said not to even bother with him.
He did, but
I mean,
the sky
gotta get him out and about, you know what I'm saying? He can't just sulk forever, right?
Well, but... Oh, be gentle.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
First scratch is always the most painful. So now you can relax.
It just keeps transferring. How come the hand touch didn't do it, but the kiss did? What exactly is this thing? So the target, so she was targeted.
Who are you?
Oh, flashback.
Wizzy, tell me.
I will not.
Will. Because she is my property.
Farouk, but you were destroyed.
Only my flesh, my spirit.
Yeah, the name
as the Shadow King.
What do
Shadow King.
What are you doing?
Run, Abasi! Run from the fire!
Wait, there's no fire.
There is no fire.
Okay, there is no fire. That's a good way to fuck with her. Make her think that it's overflowing. To make her think that there's fire and needs to be stopped. Oh boy. What does she see the blackbird as? Oh, a fire, like a asteroid or something, or something. Oh boy. Show over? Credits? Exactly, I'm about to say, come on. Figure out something. Yeah, you phase right through. That'll work.
Diamond, would have been nice to know you could do this.
It's not my favorite form. It prevents me from using my telepathy.
Limitations. Gotta have those limitations on characters. There you go.
Someone's invaded her mind. Shadow King.
Shadow
Made her believe Africa is burning.
Jesus. The damage is already done, though, unfortunately, what's happened so far. Damn, okay. We're on some sort of, like... We saw this with the Shadow King and Professor X, now we're seeing it again.
Keep him out. He cannot survive.
It's pretty crazy, this time. It's kind of like... ghostly type astral fight or something? I don't know. I guess you can just create weapons in this form, I guess. Well, you're allowed to do that because it's not an actual body. It's like a ghostly type thing. Okay. On the same page now, it seems. Good.
My place is here,
Nice.
alongside my family.
Yay. It's good. That's good. Okay. There you have it, guys. Episode 4 of Wolverine in the X-Men. I really enjoyed this episode. I like the fact that this went into a little bit of a different direction in terms of storytelling with this episode, in terms of reintroducing Storm to the show, even though we saw for a brief glimpses at the very beginning of the show with Hindsight Part 1, of course, with Professor X and everything happening with him and Jean. We get to reintroduce her. And the idea of Shadow King manipulating and controlling her to destroying Africa as a whole, and how this is, of course, a thing that changes everything in the future, like this whole entire moment, because it wasn't like it was a natural disaster, it was herself. She's trying to stop what she perceives as fire burning down this village and these people that she's been helping, and she'll start raging all of these storms and stuff trying to stop the fire, but it's not doing anything, but she's actually flooding Africa as a whole pretty much in that area, and it's a disaster. I really liked that angle in terms of him tricking her into doing that. So it opened with this random guy walking in the desert. I'm like, you lost? What's going on here? And then this guy shows up and gives him water, and then it transfers. Shadow King transfers to him. I'm like, oh, okay. And then as it progresses and they're talking about Africa, I'm thinking Storm, and then they say, Storm, and Storm is the cause of it. And I like how Professor X was on like an astral level or something with Wolverine to kind of explain this. So I wonder if this is going to happen in every episode where he's going to kind of show up, or maybe it's just it worked for this episode because it ties into that whole future thing. So they have to do everything they can to prevent certain things from happening now that will make the future different for when Professor X wakes up. Maybe it will change the point where Professor X will actually wake up in the present because so much has changed with what they're doing now. Who knows? But so Shadow King is transferring, going through all these different people, and then it gets to the point where there's like a line of people who are basically giving gifts to Storm because she's helping out their community with rain and helping out with their crops and water and all this kind of stuff that they need to survive. And so the whole line of people, and then he just keeps transferring, getting up to her and everything. I like how she actually fought back at first, because with everybody else, when he transferred to their body, they instantly were taken over by Shadow King, and they just went to the next person to get to Storm because that was the goal. So she was targeted by, of course, Shadow King. I like how at first she was actually able to fight back, and I think that's because she's a mutant, and she was able to not necessarily fall under his spell completely. And it seemed that she wasn't completely under his control or rule or whatever you want to use. I would say control, because, you know, she's on her free will, like using the elements, rain, all that kind of stuff, to stop the fire, in quotes, that was happening. So it wasn't like he was controlling her and then she was doing everything because he was making her. He was just like tricking her into. So maybe he truly wasn't as powerful as Emma Frost said, or maybe he is in terms of taking control of people's minds, but he wasn't strong enough to completely take control of Storm over to where he could just do whatever he wanted with her body, like using storms and all this kind of shit, tornadoes, all that. So he had to trick her. He had to use some manipulation in order for her to believe there was a fire. So I think that was interesting. I like that Scott, Cyclops, he went on this mission because we have been seeing him up to this point sulking and not wanting to do anything. And I get it. The love of his life, Jean, is missing, and she still is missing. And Emma said she could find her, still hasn't found her yet. But yeah, we were able to find Storm pretty quick, so Jean has to be somewhere out there, I would think. I don't think she's dead. But when Kitty and Bobby were like standing there, and Kitty was trying to get him to come out, and Bobby's like, "Why even try?" I mean, I think he was the one who said, he's like, Wolverine said not even to bother with him. And I'm thinking, well, you gotta try. And the fact is too, last episode Professor X made a very good point to him that Wolverine's leading the team. That's the word. You have to be here, Cyclops. You cannot abandon it, because he was about to walk out. He was about to walk out. And check text message. Okay. And Professor X said, "No, we need you." So that's good. I like within this episode too, because we've had some conflict with Emma Frost and Wolverine. It makes sense. But within this, we got to where she had to prove that she's not just reliable with Cerebro, because you need a telepath for Cerebro. So she found Professor X. She also found Storm, because they had to search throughout Africa. Where is she at? They have to find her, because we have to get to her now, because there's this big thing where she causes the destruction of everything of Africa, basically, it seems. And because the storm was pretty much covering a lot of the map there. But yeah, so not only is she good in being useful for Cerebro and finding people, she's also very good at combat, because she was able to take on, within this like ghostly type form, Shadow King. And I thought that was pretty cool, because, I mean, it's kind of obvious once Wolverine says, you know, all this stuff, because it was a point of where Wolverine said to her that, look, you have to earn your place here. She's like, well, I did that. And you trust everybody else. And he's like, yeah, because they earn their trust. They earn their trust to me. I trust them because they've earned that. And they've shown that I can trust them and that they're here for the team. You haven't done that fully. Yes, you found Professor X, and she made that point, and that is a good point. But still, so she made sure to, look, I am a part of this team. I'm here to help. And so she was able to fight Shadow King in that type of astral type ghost. It was a weird thing, but it was like his own type of realm, in a sense outside of a body, and so they were fighting like that. So it was kind of crazy, and cutting him in half. I mean, that just wouldn't happen if he was in a body, obviously. I like the flashback within a young Storm. I like that because I thought that was really cool where we saw her kind of, she was working with him, then she meets Professor X, and that's where everything changes for her. She realizes there's more that she can do than just stealing items for Shadow King. And I like the fact that there was a little fight, but it cut away from that. But it was still cool to see that because I like the fact that with these characters, I love the X-Men, so I like the fact that there are flashbacks, and they gave a flashback for her. And at the end of the episode, she's staying. Like, this is my home. This is my place. I'm going to be here. Because I'm assuming they didn't show it because they're just retreading water at that point. But I'm assuming Wolverine told her everything that happened up to that point. So she's, like, on the same page. She understands the X-Men are needed because the future, because I mean, she even mentioned about the future, or maybe he did. But regardless, it's obvious she's on the same page now. We didn't need to retread that water again. We already know what's going on here. So that's good that we have another member back on the team. So we have her. So that'll be good. So I'm curious where we're gonna go from here in terms of another character we might bring back, because we have a couple people still missing. I believe I think it was Nightcrawler. I think it was Gambit shown, because I think Gambit's in the show. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I remember Nightcrawler was in the opening they have for the show. So I'm waiting for him to pop up because I really like Nightcrawler as a character. So but yeah, I'm really enjoying the show. This is a great episode with Storm and good some manipulation, some trickery with all the mind stuff. So I'm really excited to see where we go from here, guys. So that was the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. What do you guys think of this episode of Wolverine and the X-Men? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Whatever thoughts you have, let me know in the comment section below, guys. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.